Welcome to episode 269 of the Ross Bolen Podcast, otherwise known as RBP 269, presented by Bolen Media. I am your host, of course, Ross Bolen, joined today by semi-regular producer but first-time co-host here on RBP, Miss Myrriah Gossett. Gossett?
Yes.
Yes, crushed it.
You did it.
How are you doing?
I'm good. I know. I'm sitting here. I'm the unseen character, off-screen character.
You are. You are. We've spent hours in this room together. Many, many hours.
That's true.
Probably like 30 plus hours.
Probably.
And we know almost nothing about each other.
I know. Just in passing, and then I get to learn a lot about you.
Through the show.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's really unfair, right?
I guess so, yeah.
So to start up front, I have to ask you a few questions.
All right.
It's time to quickly change that with shallow small talk
Let's do it.
at the introduction of the podcast. First of all, where are you from?
I'm actually from Canada. I'm from British Columbia.
Shut up.
Yeah.
You're Canadian.
I am.
Are you
That's
still a
what we say.
citizen?
In Canada? Yes.
Yeah.
The U.S. doesn't like when you have dual citizenship, so.
Oh, do they not?
No.
Oh,
They want
this
us to
isn't-
only be American, but
I didn't know this.
I hold an American passport, yes, and
I-
a Canadian birth certificate.
I have a great love for the Canadian people, not just because of it's the accents. It's a lot of it's the accents, but also the general outlook on the world. And then there's like a subversion of that we have in Minnesota.
Yes.
We have like knockoff Canadians, and they're the best. Minnesota's my second favorite state.
We're pretty nice people. We like saying sorry a lot.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, sorry.
Sorry. Okay, so you're from Canada. What brought you? How'd you get here? What brought you to Austin?
Yeah. I've lived in the States for a long time. I'll preface that. I lived in Florida and then Georgia, now Austin. But I moved to Austin for a job. So I used to manage an office of all those people who come knocking on your doors talking about politics.
Oh, great.
Yeah, those annoying people. I used to teach them how to be those annoying people.
Oh, God.
That was my job.
You're like worse than Jordan Belfort, who taught people how to cold call.
Yes,
Right?
I was that person.
Yeah.
But it was hard work, and now I just produce stuff.
Well, that's a nice transition.
Yeah.
What do you do outside of producing here at Permanent Record?
I produce lots of other podcasts, so I probably work on like 15
Holy
podcasts
hell.
throughout the year. Yeah.
15.
Yeah. Too many, but
15 is a lot. So what have you thought about RBP so far, having only been introduced to the show as a result of working at the studio where we record and producing now, several episodes? What's your impression?
I mean, I really appreciate all the mental health talk. I think it's important. I have a brother who suffers from a severe mental illness, and so I think it's an important conversation. So I appreciate that. And then you have like one of the catchiest theme sons.
Yes, dude.
Mike and I routinely talk about how that song gets stuck in our head. Like we'll walk out and we're like,
yeah, dude.
Anyway.
It's Sam O'Hare, the kid who made it, is incredibly talented, and still to this day, like you play it before the show starts, and I hear it. And it still like makes me smile how absurd it is and how many people are singing on the track. I'm not sure how any of it was done. But yeah, it's okay, good. So you appreciate the mental health talk.
Yeah.
And you love the theme song. Shouts to Sam O'Hare. Well, Myrriah, we're excited. I'm excited to do our first episode together.
Let's do it.
Let's go. RBP 269 is brought to you by Liquid IV. Liquid IV has been supporting this show forever. You know them for their hydration multiplier that we all love. But did you know half of Americans report that they fight with daily fatigue? Maybe you recognize some of the signs of low energy: decreased focus, lack of motivation, poor mood, unhappiness. Who wants these things? Nobody. Liquid IV Energy Multiplier gives you sustained energy throughout the day. Fight fatigue without the crash. It's the perfect replacement for morning coffee and an all-natural alternative to processed energy drinks. Premium matcha in green energy blend tastes delicious and provides a lasting energy boost throughout the day. The fatigue-fighting boost you'd get from a couple cups of coffee without the crash, which is ideal. It contains a mixture of teas and herbs high in antioxidants that help improve mood and focus. It's a healthier alternative to traditional energy drinks and coffee. No artificial flavors or preservatives. Liquid IV's cellular transport technology, CTT, delivers an optional ratio of nutrients for efficient uptake. Enhanced rapid absorption into the bloodstream gives you lasting energy fast. Powers your mornings, fuels long days at work, provides a boost for those tough workouts. Clean ingredients, non-GMO, vegan, free of gluten, dairy, and soy. Convenient, TSA-friendly single-serving packets for travel. Here's one of the things I love most about Liquid IV. Aside from the incredible stuff that it does for you and your body, they're on a mission to change the world. They've donated 2 million servings to date to places like Haiti, Uganda, Puerto Rico, and Nepal. With each purchase you make, Liquid IV donates a serving to someone in need around the world. Do good, feel good. What is not to love? I pound one of these energy multipliers before workouts. I usually have a hydration multiplier after a workout. But the energy multiplier is awesome. It's helped me cut back on coffee some too, because coffee leaves me jittery after the crash. Huge fan. You will love the stuff. Get 25% off when you go to liquidiv.com. Use the code ROSS at checkout. That's 25% off anything you order on Liquid IV's website. Just go to liquidiv.com, enter the promo code ROSS to save 25% and get better hydration and energy. Liquidiv.com, promo code ROSS. Don't wait. Start fueling your adventures today. Some announcements and shouts quickly. Happy birthday, Glenn, coming up February 25th, turning 29 years old. Have a great one, man. Boom. That was the announcement today. Gotta love it.
Just one?
Just one.
Right.
If you want more RBP every month, ad-free, you can support the show on patreon.com/Ross Bolen Podcast. In exchange, you'll get more premium RBP only for supporters on Patreon. Thank you to everyone on patreon.com/Ross Bolen Podcast for making this show possible and keeping Bolen Media moving in the right direction. It means an enormous amount. Amends, quickly. Natalie has not actually been fired, just for the record. We had this fact-checking intern, Natalie, who made a mistake. And she has not been fired, although I think she may have thought she was fired, because I have not heard from her since the recording of the last episode, and as a result, I have no amends for episode 268. So suffice it to say, President Abraham Lincoln did not enjoy retirement. Richard Nixon did not enjoy impeachment. The population of China is 1.439 billion. First segment, insane headlines of the day. So one of the things we like to do here on RBP is grab some insane headlines from the recent news cycle and talk about them. Here's your first. Mark Zuckerberg reportedly gets his armpits blow-dried before speeches.
That sounds like every woman's deodorant commercial I've ever seen. They always have the girl like in the bathroom with her armpit under the hairdryer. And I'm like, one, that's hot. That's defeating the purpose.
Yes, hot air.
Hot air.
Uh-huh.
I could see with the blow dryer, you have the option for like cool air, but
Sure. But
it's
no,
weird.
you can't do hot air on your sweaty
No.
armpit. Also, no one has ever done that. Why is that a movie trope?
I don't know. I don't think I've ever done that in my life. I do know I've seen Whitney Cummings on her Instagram. She'll put pads in her shirts under her arms because she sweats so much.
I'm not a sweaty person. Are you a sweater?
I mean, I wear jackets like all the time.
Okay.
So it's hard to tell. I mean, yes, but no one can tell.
Ah, okay. Well, as long as you keep it to yourself.
You know.
I have like a weird thing where I don't sweat to the point that it's a problem.
Oh, no.
My mom has it too. It's like genetic. So, I mean, we live in Texas, have my whole life. It's hot as shit outside. You need to sweat to keep yourself cool.
Yeah.
Like when you're running and such, which I don't do often, but when I do, I don't sweat. Problematic. Apparently, it'll be a bigger problem when I'm older. So far, nothing's happened. It's very nice, in fact.
Good.
Thoroughly enjoy it so far. Apparently, it's going to possibly be a problem. Yeah, so Zuck, no one should be shocked by this. This guy's a weirdo robot, cyborg human. He apparently has his armpits blow-dried before big speeches. There's a new book out that claims this.
It just seems silly because I feel like in public speaking, you end up sweating more as soon as you start speaking.
Right. It's not the sweat that you already have that's going to be the problem, Mark. It's the sweat you're going to create when you're out there.
Well, that's why I feel like this might not be like
Totally legit.
Totally legit. I mean, it was on like the New York Post, right?
Yeah. Well, and then of course it got
Questionable.
It got run with everywhere. Yeah, no, and they're denying it, like that this isn't. Someone actually, here's a quote from a Facebook spokesperson to a Business Insider when presented with the claim. Quote, "I doubt this is true. If so, it would have been at our communications team's request, but surely anyone who has ever worn a gray T-shirt can relate." So,
Don't wear gray T-shirts.
yeah, I guess it's, listen, Zuckerberg The odds of this being true to me are about 90% still, based on everything I know about this guy, and this being in some book by Stephen Levy, Facebook, The Inside Story. If it's in a book, I believe it. Anything in a book. Any book.
Any book?
Any book. You know how they say, like, don't believe everything you see? Don't believe everything you read online? I believe everything I read in a book.
So like that zombie, like Jane Austen book, 100% real?
1,000%. That's part of history to me now. Yeah. Oh, one more piece of this story. They apparently shared this report about Zuckerberg with the Twitter CEO, Jack Dorsey, who said that he has never asked his employees to blow dry his pits, but would be, quote, happy to provide that service for anyone on our comms team if needed. Good to know if you work at Twitter. Our next insane headline. NFL lineman busted with 157 pounds of weed faces up to 20 years in prison. This is a widely reported on story. This former Cleveland Browns offensive tackle Greg Robinson and free agent wide receiver Quan Bray were arrested yesterday at a checkpoint near the United States and Mexico border, actually earlier this week. And they had 157 pounds of weed on them. Okay.
Weed.
Now, this is ridiculous for many, many reasons, but let me just start by saying 157 pounds of weed moved through the United States. At this point, is it really that big of a deal illegally? Like, is it really that big of a deal?
I don't think it's that big of a deal, but I think Customs and Border Patrol thinks it's a big deal.
They very allegedly do, because they're trying to get these dudes with like a maximum of 20 years. So yeah, they weren't even like crossing the Mexican border or anything like that, though. This was at a checkpoint near Sierra Blanca, Texas, 83 miles southeast of El Paso, and a Border Patrol agent with a drug-sniffing dog detected the scent of marijuana, so they like called it in to the next station or whatever, where they inspected the vehicle and found several large duffel bags containing vacuum-sealed black bags containing what tested positive as marijuana. Also $3,100 in cash, which is also nothing if you're riding around with that much weed.
Right. Or if you're an NFL player.
Or if you were an NFL player. That's like me getting caught. That's like them reporting that they busted me with 30 pounds of cocaine and I had $8 in cash.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because what the hell? But I just don't get, if you were going to risk this, assume this level of risk, why are you moving pot? It's semi-legal. Like, this is just a strange move in
Also,
2020.
If you're someone who has that kind of money,
Yeah.
why aren't you hiring other people to do it?
That's the other thing for me. Why are you driving it yourself? You can't slice off 2% for some guy to drive for you?
Right.
Like, strategically, this is idiotic. Then again, here's the thing. It really just comes down to the NFL thing. Somebody needs to do this, because this is how we get our shit in Austin. Somebody's driving it from California. You think they're growing this shit here? Nope. It comes from California and Colorado, but most of it's from California. And somebody's got to do it. I just didn't think it was former NFL players risking it all for this system. 157 pounds of weed in one car? Look, I spent a lot of time around weed. Fucking 1 ounce of weed. The smell cannot be contained by any man-made means. 157 pounds you're going to smell.
That car.
Come on. How the hell do you think if you get pulled over, it's over. It doesn't matter how vacuum sealed your shit is. It doesn't matter. I've got my shit given to me in fucking smell-proof baggies that I then put inside of smell-proof containers, literally, like, scientifically fucking made by, like, former NASA scientists to make it smell-proof. I don't even know if that's true. But it's, like, hardcore. And it still doesn't work. So, no, I don't believe that any amount of vacuum sealing can contain 157 pounds of 2020 weed. We're not talking about it's like the fucking 70s and they're driving around with Cheech and Chong swag. This is the shit that smells. It smells very, very, very strongly. Anyway, this kid was 27, facing 20 years.
So stupid.
Seems like a silly risk. But
I also still can't believe we still, like, arrest people for marijuana.
yeah, hopefully they'll get I don't know. Hopefully they don't get anything near anything near. Hopefully they don't get any time at all. They should just pay a massive fine for attempting to do something insanely idiotic. That's it. They also found 23 mason jars, a can sealing machine, an electronic scale, and then the $3,100 in cash was just in one of the guy's jeans. Then while in custody, agents observed a text notification on Robinson's cell phone
Oh, no.
from a contact listed as, quote, grow house indoor.
You got to give him a better name.
What are you doing? What are you doing? Also, I love that so when you get arrested, they take your phone, they put it in a plastic bag and like put it into a storage bin so that you can get it when you pay bail and get out or whatever. That means while the cop was bagging dude's phone, he happened to get a text from the grow house right then, and the cop was just looking at the phone like, you got to be shitting me. He labeled it grow house indoor.
Like, at least just put like little tree emojis in as the name.
Something clever. Come with it. Come on. What the fuck? Grow house indoor? Oh, goodness. Last and final headline. Papa John's founder. I didn't eat 40 pizzas in 30 days. We as a country, nay, a world, have spent the last, since the fucking Super Bowl, talking about the hilarious and swift downfall of former CEO of Papa John's, John Schnatter.
What a name.
And in the ridiculous interview he gave where he claimed to have eaten 40 pizzas in 30 days in a gravelly voice that made it sound like they had used like a voice modulator on him.
Maybe it's just from all the dairy.
That's what I assumed.
Grease coating.
Now he comes out and says this isn't the case. Here's the subheader on this headline, by the way. The ousted CEO of the pizza giant, John Schnatter, says the verb had isn't the same as eaten and claims he was just inspecting the dozens of pies. Dude, we spent months discussing this. Months. Now you come out and say it wasn't even true? Former Papa John's CEO John Schnatter tried to clarify his wild statement that implied that he ate more than one whole pie a day for a month in criticizing the pizza giant he once controlled. Back in November, Schnatter told WDRB, a Fox affiliate in Louisville, Kentucky, that he had, quote, over 40 pizzas in the last 30 days. Which is a quote that will never be erased from our pop culture lexicon, by the way. That's permanent. There are T-shirts and shit. It's over. I don't care if it's not true. It might as well be true. To finish. And concluded that Papa John is, quote, not the same pizza, quote, since his ouster. He says, well, I didn't say I had eaten 40 pizzas in 30 days. I said I had 40 pizzas in 30 days.
Like, why wouldn't you just say I inspected 40 pizzas over
No one knows. No one knows. And now everyone, of course, online is going to town saying, well, did he fuck 40 pizzas in 30 days? What does he mean? He had them. I mean, the Twitter surrounding this guy, the Twitter buzz surrounding this guy and his every statement at this point is ridiculous. So apparently he's being interviewed here and admitting to all this, and the host pushes back, accusing Schnatter of playing fast and loose with his pizza lingo.
Fast and loose with pizza. I mean, do we really care this much?
No.
Do we need to care this much?
Maybe. But then he gets defensive. He's like, hold on. We're going to split hairs here. When I said I had a pizza, that means I ate it. Then he pulled out a picture of a pizza and said had usually means he's inspecting a pie or eating just part of it. Quote, when I said I had a pizza, it means I'm inspecting. I'm not eating every pizza. I may be eating parts of pizzas. See, it's become more important now that you know the details. Right? Don't you feel like this is important?
Pizzagate?
This guy's ridiculous. Oh my God. Schnatter said he now eats about 8 or 9 slices a week, but that he used to down 12 to 15 slices a week when he was running Papa John's. Oof. Now, here's my response to this story. There have been points in my life where I ate more than 12 to 15 slices a week. I am disgusted that this dude pretends that he can comment on anybody's pizza experience when he's never hossed more than that. That's not enough. He never took this shit serious. He was never as deep in the pizza game as he thought he was. His self-image is off. I'm more of a pizza god than this man. This man is nothing. 12 to 15 a week. When he was running Papa John's, dude, if I was running Papa John's, I've 30 minimum a week. 30 slices. Slices? Easy. The fuck out of here. He now eats 8 or 9 slices a week. Straight up, the past 4 months, I've averaged above that. I'm serious. Every time I have a pizza, I have over 8 slices.
Right.
I eat the fucking whole thing.
Any stoned college kid is outdoing that tenfold.
Yeah, this is pathetic. This is a sad performance. This man should be shunned further than he already has. I'm disgusted by the Papa. A man I once respected, turned racist, now liar, and fraud. Next segment. Mom Appreciation Rant. I don't know how to segue this. Does anyone in the world...
We're going from Papa to Mama.
There you go. Thank you. Hey.
That's why they pay me the big dollars.
Keeping it in the family. Mom and pop store. So I had coffee with a mom this morning. She has a 1-year-old daughter. And every time I hang out with a parent, this happens. But it just reminded me of something that still doesn't get enough shine. In fact, it's weird. Like, we as a society, we kind of openly accept the mocking of the whole, like, mother being the hardest job in the world thing at this point. Like, there's lots of comics who get away with bits about this. And I'm like, what? I don't know how that became okay, but it really is a thing at this point, which has, like, spurred me even further to want to do this segment. Being in charge of another human being's life, conceptually, when most of the people I know can't even take care of themselves, is so insane. Like, I'm a 32-year-old man who I consider myself to be at least fairly smart. But even just with the challenges I face in my own life daily, it's very difficult for me to imagine being in charge of another life. And I know it's one of those things where everybody feels like they're never really ready for it until you're actually forced to be ready for it. But still, just from like a fundamental standpoint, the responsibility of motherhood is so heavy, it's hard for me to wrap my head around. And here's the thing. Here's the reason it's different from fatherhood. And here's the thing I've come to understand further and further, even as a guy who does not have kids yet. Just from observing my friends and family who do have kids and their relationships to those kids and each other. Because here's the thing. For all the pain and suffering and injustice women endure that differentiates them from men, the payoff that I have now, at least as a man, started to understand is in the bond that women share with the human offspring that we produce together. That can't be replicated. Guys don't have that, obviously. But it's like, that is such a different deal. You grow the new humans inside you. And then literally, they are born from you.
It's bananas.
They pop out of you. What? That's not something men can ever understand or share in. And it's the unmistakable payoff for all the other seemingly shitty shakes women get in life, in my opinion. Which is not something I ever really had like a thing to measure. Right? As a dude, that's always like it's always framed up for us growing up like, man, I'm so lucky I'm a guy. No periods, no getting pregnant, no worrying about sexism in the workplace, getting paid more and shit. Really hit the jackpot here. But there is some level of payoff. There is some level of balance to it, is all I'm saying. At least a little bit that I didn't recognize before. Myrriah, your thoughts?
I mean, I don't know. I have a lot of thoughts. I'm not a mom either, is the other thing. I have no desire to have children, so I might be a little jaded on these things. But I will say that
you can still have opinions?
I can have opinions. I've got reproductive organs, so I can have an opinion about it. But
absolutely.
The other thing I find very interesting is even with more equity that we've had in like the workplace, right? And like more dads who stay at home, there's still an imbalance of like emotional labor and labor in the home. So it was like, even if both parents work and maybe even the dad works less, usually the woman is still left doing majority of household responsibilities.
Yeah, just out of what? Not enough time removed from tradition?
I don't really I don't know.
I think that's it. Like, honestly, it's like it's like it takes so many generations before a concept is totally removed or broken or changed, right? And that's just like societally the way we were structured for so many decades was women do the work in American homes.
Yeah. Toppling the patriarchy is a long-term project.
Hey, y'all are working on it.
Working. It's in my Twitter bio, toppling the patriarchy daily.
I'm just trying to stay as disconnected from it as I can from the patriarchy, but I'm in it.
Yeah, we're all in it.
Yeah.
We're all in it. Anyway, I hope that
Topple away.
I also hope that we as a society learn more from like queer and gay relationships and how to manage like emotional and household labors, because I think it's an interesting way to view relationships.
The dynamic is just totally different, right?
Right. It's totally different. I think we should all just queer up our relationships and we'd all be better people.
So it's just what? So what that would be setting the baseline at like no sex, no like pre whatever. You wouldn't come in with any
like gender biases.
Yeah,
right.
You wouldn't come in with any gender bias on either side.
Hopefully.
Yeah. That'll take another 400 years for straight people to wrap their heads around, though.
Really missing out.
Yeah. We are what we are. Oh, what else? What was the so I don't know. It's just like it's just the responsibility of being a mother to me is I mean, it's like next level, and it's no disrespect to dads at all. It's not like that. But while men, like, there's so many dads who just bounce, right? And women get left alone as single mothers, and there's like this extra layer of a bond between a mother and their child that to me, it's like another added layer of responsibility because of that sort of stigma in our society and that sort of unbroken cycle at this point as well. Like, how many moms are holding down the fort, making sure the next generation of humans is as well equipped as they can be to handle this world by themselves with no dad around? Like, that's crazy. And then vice versa. Respect to the dads who are doing it by themselves too, but there's a lot more moms doing it alone. And that's just a wild weight to carry. I got very, very lucky with my mom. And I got really lucky with my dad, too, which seems unfair. But, Mom, I love you very, very much. Thank you for everything that you've ever done for me. Go jam Kanye's Dear Mama one time from me to you. And then to all the other moms out there, keep your heads up and no pressure. The entire world depends on your making the next generation not trash.
But no pressure.
RBP 269 is also brought to you by Away. Away creates thoughtful products built for the way modern travelers see the world. They started with the perfect suitcase. Now they offer a range of essentials, all of which will take your travels and make your travels more seamless. It's the greatest luggage on earth, people. I've been rocking with Away for a couple years now. My God, do I love their stuff. Ironically, as I was literally leaving my home just now to come record, I got a package from Away. I haven't opened it yet. Frankly, I don't even remember what I ordered. I'm very excited to open it when I get back. And when I do, I'll throw it up on my Instagram story so y'all can see it. But I already have one of their suitcases. I'm stoked to see whatever the hell this is. Their stuff is all so good. The features help me keep everything organized. They've got wheels that don't stick, laundry bag for dirty clothes that I love, a built-in lock that the TSA won't question. The way it's constructed really solves for a lot of the little headaches that you've learned to live with when you travel. Knowing that Away will fix or replace my suitcase ASAP if anything ever breaks means I never have to worry about my luggage ever, which is awesome. Everyone has a unique style, which is why Away offers a range of suitcases made of different materials like polycarbonate, aluminum, durable nylon. They have a variety of colors, 2 different carry-on sizes. So whoever you are, whatever you need to pack, Away has luggage that works for you. And all their suitcases are thoughtfully designed to last for a lifetime. With durable exteriors that can withstand even the roughest baggage handlers, every suitcase comes with an interior organization system that includes a built-in compression pad to help you pack in more. Fucking love that feature. You have no idea how much stuff I fit in my little carry-on. It's incredible because of this compression pad. It's genius. Snap it in, fucking tighten it up, boom, more room. The laundry bag so you can keep your dirty clothes separate. My whole life I was using shitty suitcases that didn't have this feature. All your dirty clothes are mixed in with your clean clothes. Now everything you didn't see as dirty before is definitely dirty now. You need one of these. It's got 4 360-degree spinner wheels, guarantee the most smoothest roll, even through the most hectic of airports and stations. A TSA-approved combination lock that keeps your belongings safe. To get your suitcase and shop other travel essentials, visit awaytravel.com/Ross. That's awaytravel.com/Ross. AWAY travel.com/ROSS. Next segment.
And now, Ross Bolen's Animal of the Week.
Fucking love it. Y'all know the deal. Google Images. Here's your animal of the week. Grasshopper mouse. Type it into Google. Type it into Google Images and look at it while I spit facts on it, okay? Grasshopper mouse.
Cute and terrifying.
And weird. This one's weird. So weird. Like, I'm not anti-mouse. I'm anti-rat. Which, ironically, I was watching The Great Mouse Detective again last night. No, that did not mean to tie this in. I didn't write this down. And there's a scene where Professor Ratigan, who's very clearly a rat, they're all singing a song.
You can tell by his name.
Yeah, and his just, body. He's a fucking rat. They're singing a song that always reminds me of the song they sing for Gaston and Beauty and the Beast. And it sort of makes me think they ripped from each other. I'm not sure which one came out first. But where he gets called a rat and he freaks the fuck out and he murders the mouse that calls him a rat. And it's like, bro, you're clearly a rat. Anyway, I don't like rats. I don't have a problem with mice, though. I'm not one of these people, if I see a mouse, I'm like, fucking kill it. I don't care. Just get it out of my house. I don't care. But this one, this might change my opinion. I'm now scared of mice. Grasshopper mouse. It's the only carnivorous rodent in North America.
Terrifying.
And I'm fairly confident it's the only one that howls like a fucking wolf as well.
I looked up because I was like, oh, I should preload the sound of this mouse to play. And I was like, ooh, it's terrible. I'm not doing that to listeners.
It's like a horrific shriek.
Good. Yeah, it's not good.
It's unpleasant.
Like, if you've ever heard a real coyote howl.
Uh-huh.
So in movies, they use wolf howls because real coyote howls sound like screaming children, and it's terrifying.
Weirdly, we have coyotes in Central Texas, right? And every once in a while, I'll get one of these neighborhood alerts that's like, my neighbor's cat was devoured by a coyote at 11:20 p.m. last night in her backyard. Be careful.
Why are you letting your animals out?
I don't know, but why are there coyotes in people's backyards? That's not cool.
Well, we've taken up all of their natural habitat. They got nowhere to go. They were here first.
I forgot.
They were here first.
Well, still keep an eye out if you're in Central Texas because there are coyotes out there. Or just buy one of these grasshopper mice to fend off your coyotes.
Scare them away.
Yeah, they're only 6 inches long, but they're really badass. They live in the U.S. and Mexico. They communicate over long distances with these ridiculous howls. If you want to hear it, you can YouTube it. That is very audible to humans. It's like a miniature version of a coyote howl is the way it's described, but I don't know. It's more like a coyote howl gone horribly wrong. And it even does, what's cool about the thing, though, minus the howl isn't there. But it's like with my dogs. When they try to howl, they're toy Australian Shepherds. They don't really have it in them. Is it still cute? Fuck yes. So it's like that. It's this grasshopper mouse, it stands on its hind legs and throws its head back like a goddamn werewolf when it does this howl. So it's cute. Is the howl there? No. But the image, adorable. Phenomenal. Oh, here's something from Wired. While the rodent may cry spontaneously or emit the sound as a warning when it spots another of its kind, the grasshopper mouse regularly howls just before a kill.
Whoa.
Ooh,
it's a
gnarly.
metal mouse.
Yeah, you know what? In fact, here's a whole graph from Wired that really does a great, incredible job of summarizing why this is a badass animal in general. This is written by Brian Switek, so he gets his credit here. It's a couple sentences. These are not adorable grain eaters. Grasshopper mice are agile little predators which regularly take on prey as large, if not larger, than themselves. Insects, scorpions, lizards, and other mice make up about 90% of a grasshopper mouse's diet. And like other carnivores, they roam relatively large territories but have low population densities. A swath of habitat can only support so many hunters. Holy shit, these things eat. First of all, they can be cannibals. They will eat other mice. But also, they down poisonous shit regularly. More on that in a second. From Wikipedia, they have a wide range of calls that can distinguish them between species, sex, and individuals. For example, the larger mice tend to have deeper voices. And when they feel attacked, they will let out a rapid screech/bark.
I like the idea of a rap screech/bark.
A rap screech. Also, they burrow. And they will just go live in the burrows of prairie dogs or kangaroo rats, which I didn't know were a thing. Got to be an animal of the week at some point. What the fuck is a kangaroo rat? Even as a rat hater, I'm interested. Now you have my attention, kangaroo rat. Also, pocket mice. Grasshopper mice, they construct their own burrows for nesting and food storage, but like I said, they will grab an empty one if it's available. Anyway, back to the poisonous shit. They prey on highly venomous arthropods. One example, centipedes, which normally kill mice by injecting deadly toxin through their venomous forcipules. Grasshopper mice move swiftly, while centipedes can only inject their toxin if the prey is being held by their needle claws. So the mouse remains out of reach of the centipede, then attacks it repeatedly by biting through its hard exoskeleton. They have gnarly teeth. Each attack on the centipede damages its central nervous system until the centipede is paralyzed and the grasshopper mouse can eat it safely.
Again, metal mouse.
And nature is crazy as hell.
Yeah, 100%.
Which I'm reminded of every time I watch Planet of the Earth. What is it?
Planet Earth.
Planet of the Earth?
Planet of the Earth.
Planet of the Apes.
There's that new one on Netflix that's like Earth After Dark or something like that.
Yeah, I saw that.
That looks pretty dope.
I need to get into that. Always been a big Planet Earth guy. Also Planet of the Apes. I'm like 2 movies behind in the new version of that. Like the first one, though. Mm-hmm. They have a resistance to the venom of the Arizona bark scorpions that share their desert. And these are among the most poisonous scorpions in the world. Their venom usually causes muscle contractions, respiratory failure in human beings. The grasshopper mice kill them and eat them. They transform the venom into a soothing painkiller.
What?
They eat the most poisonous scorpion in the world and get high off it. What the shit?
I mean, as humans, we get high off a lot of stuff that's poisonous to us, though.
I get high. Yeah, the most popular of which is fucking alcohol.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which I'm biased, but, you know.
They're just tiny little alcoholic mice.
Yeah. Well, they're part of the opioid epidemic is really the way I'm seeing it. Right? They're addicted to PKs. They can't stop popping perks.
They got to find all those scorpions.
Right. There's your animal of the week, the grasshopper mouse. Was not familiar with this thing. Love that there's a little mouse out there doing bad work, killing stuff it shouldn't be, and eating poisonous scorpions and shit. Hey, the more poisonous scorpions they gobble up, the less we have to worry about. It's nature. Nature versus nurture. Nature always wins. Next segment. RBP Impact Initiative. So very quickly, I'll explain for those of you who don't know what the Impact Initiative is. If you already do, hit the 15-second thing twice. You'll be fine. For the last couple of months, we've done call-outs to our listenership to ask that they share their stories with me through my email, ross@rossbolenpodcast.com, sharing how this show, this podcast, this community, the RBP gang, as we like to call it, how it's impacted them, affected their lives, etc., or if it's a positive thing or a negative thing, whatever. The stories were positive. Shocker. So we've shared a lot of those over the past several weeks. In episode 265, we actually did our entire show, was just sharing RBP Impact Initiative stories and responding to them. Since RBP 265, we have received so many more emails from everybody, and I appreciate all y'all who have shared your stories. So I wanted to share a couple more just very quickly at the end of the show today. Here is your first one. It's from Aaron. He said, "Yo, Ross, I know I'm late, but as a day one listener, I wanted to share how your podcast is still making an impact for me even after 265 episodes. This past Tuesday, I lost my grandmother. And living in another state, I had to basically suppress all of my feelings while I continued to work for 2 days until I got to go home to be with my family. As I was driving home on Friday, everything was starting to sink in, and her loss was starting to hit me as I was all alone on the road with nothing but my own thoughts. I started to think about how much it sucked being alone at a time like that when your not alone motto came in mind, which reminded me that the new RBP Impact Initiative episode had dropped. Listening to stories from other listeners who are struggling, albeit for different reasons than my own, made me realize that even when I feel alone, I'm blessed to have a ton of people who support me, even when they aren't physically there. Just that simple reminder that you are not alone helped me get through that rough 8-hour drive home to lay my grandma to rest. So I just wanted to say thank you for that. Not looking to have this story read on the podcast necessarily, but I know you're going through a rough time yourself, so I hope you know that you're not alone, even if there are times when it feels like you are. Thanks for all you do. Thanks for playing a part in one of the rougher times in my life. Keep killing it." And then he had a small aside about how there was a point where I shared a story way back. I mean, way back in the day about how one of my first media job technically ever was writing for a hip-hop site, sohh.com, which still exists. And it was just this totally random deal where I applied to be their Houston writer, and they gave me the job. And while I was doing this weird job back in Houston after getting pulled out of Texas State for a year, this full-time 9 to 5, I was also writing for this hip-hop website. And it was just this really cool thing because it gave me my first taste of like what it was like to create content for an audience and then respond to that audience and interact with them in the comment sections and such, and just kind of discussing and reviewing albums and talking about music and whatever, which is obviously still, at least part of what I do. But it's cool because it inspired him to go to apply for writing for a country site, a country music site. Love that. People helping people. Hey, dude, thank you so much for sharing your email with me. I hope me leaving out your last name was enough to keep you anonymous enough. And again, it means a lot. Here's your next one. Some guy named Phil from Philadelphia.
Phil.
I kind of love that. I wonder if he does.
Philly Phil.
Like, what was it? Yeah, was it? Because, see, that had to have gotten annoying growing up, right?
Probably. I hope he has all of the best screen names, though. Like, if he, captured all those at the right moment on AOL Instant Messenger.
So he gets on Twitch with me. His Twitch name is Phil Will Made It. So we got a good one there. But he's having to do a play on Mike Will Made It, which I feel like you don't need to do. You're Phil from Philadelphia, bro. You're Phil. You need to come through with something different. Repping the double Phil.
Phil squared.
Yeah. There you go. Just my opinion. He said, you can share this email with the gang just like you guys. It's helped me over the last 8 months, and maybe this email will help someone as well. He says, I started this podcast right around the time I became sober, and I hit 8 months last week. It's been really tough because I'm 27 and all my friends still like to go out every weekend or watch football games and drink or whatever. You and this podcast gave me something to do whenever I felt triggered. And there's something about your voice and even AJ's voice,
Ouch.
that just calms me down. A saying that my friend told me the other night really stuck with me. That was to quote, love, be loved, and be lovable. Just think about it. I could go on and on, but just wanted to say thank you for helping me get through all this tough times. Much love, Phil. Also, if you aren't watching twitch.tv/bossrollin, y'all are missing out. Gang, gang. Phil, thanks for plugging the Twitch at the end there. I'll plug yours. It's Phil Will Made It. People helping people. No, thank you, dude. It's that part of the show, talking about my drinking, which I don't talk about as much anymore, and like talking about how I quit drinking and like how hard that was. People still hit me up so much with questions about that kind of stuff. I need to find a way to almost readdress some of it. And y'all's calls and emails are very helpful in doing that. So yeah, it can be really difficult to go out sober and get used to that part of it. I promise you though, if you're somebody, whether it's Phil or somebody else struggling with that aspect of it, it gets very easy. And honestly, when you get through it, you will be better socially than you were drunk. And I know that sounds completely insane, and anybody who drinks is like, fuck off. And I used to think that exact same thing. But once you become comfortable enough with yourself sober, you'll actually have more fun talking to people than you did when you were drunk. Because when you're drunk, you're impaired. You don't remember shit. You're fucking slurring. You both are yelling at each other. Neither of you can understand the other. It's really weird. But I promise you, like, that's why, again, I'll say this. I'll preface all of this with I can still only do 2 hours at the bar. And then it gets past the point of you're too much alcohol and I'm too much not having smoked weed in too long. And somebody's got to do, either you got to quit drinking or I got to get high. Or we can't talk anymore.
Got to hit the equilibrium.
Yeah, there's too much space. But no, I seriously, I mean that. I think that it sucks ass. It's a terribly hard adjustment to make socially in America. It just is. But once you make it, it's I promise you, things get a lot better, and it'll be totally worth it. And again, this is not anything against anybody who drinks socially. If you can do it safely and without doing negative damage to your life, fuck yeah, dude. You're awesome. Continue to do so. If you can't, maybe it's time to go the route of Phil. One more email, very quickly, from Colby. Said, Ross, I'm a senior in high school from LaGrange, a little town an hour outside of Austin. He put that, not me. Like I wouldn't know. Dude, I've been pulled over in LaGrange 46 times, as has every citizen of Texas. Come on. It's like an incredible speed trap.
It's a rite of passage for living in Texas.
It's a speed trap from hell. The whole goddamn stretch of 71 right there. Fuck me. I said recently one of my friends. Anyway, sorry, to get back to your email. Let me clear my throat. Colby, LaGrange, outside Austin. He says, recently one of my friends took her life and has been a really rough, and one of the ways I've been coping with it is just driving. And I put on RBP to get my mind off everything. And I've been listening for a while now since Micah was on it, and I just wanted to thank you for that. It has been a huge help, man. I'm not very good at writing, so I don't know how to end this, but gang, gang, gang. That's exactly how you end it, Colby. Good job. Dude, first of all, it's kind of funny that we were making fun of how getting pulled over in LaGrange is a rite of passage, and you're literally just cruising around LaGrange, listening to my voice.
Waiting to get pulled over.
Waiting to get pulled over. Second of all, this is one of the, like, I miss this so much because I used to do this. It was like one of the ways that I coped with stuff was driving around and listening to music usually. And it brought me a lot of peace. And I even loved road trips and shit. But now I get anxiety when I drive, so I don't really have this option anymore. But that's neither here nor there. I'm very sorry to hear about your loss. Man, the loss of another human being, it's something that I get asked about a lot, and it's not something I have a good enough understanding of. I always feel like I'm lacking in my advice to people and how to cope with it. But I started to realize something these past several months, really. And there are certain things in life, and certainly the loss of another human being in your life is one of them. That there's no real, I mean, there's things that everybody will tell you to do. You know, there's the general advice we all give each other, and there's therapy, and there's a lot of things you can keep healthy, be eating well, make sure you're running, stay social, try to think positive, keep your chin up. I mean, there's a million things you can do. But at the end of the day, every single one of us processes that level of loss differently, and time really, really is the only cure. And it never matters that that's the answer. No matter how many times you hear it, you know, in time you'll feel better. And this too shall pass. Everybody tells you some version of that, right? It doesn't help. But it's also the truth. That's the fucked up part about it. Is that's the only real advice that matters, is that, and the thing you have to constantly remind yourself, especially when you're at your darkest, because it will go away. It will become a part of you in a different, not painful way that will help shape you into the person that you'll be later. And the thing you have to do in those darkest places is make sure you're harnessing that in a way that doesn't poison you or break you, that grows you in the future, not turns you into something soured. And that, again, it's like that. It's like impossible advice. But if you can burrow that shit into your head enough times and just beat yourself with the idea every morning when you wake up, every night when you go to sleep, I swear to God, eventually it starts to take hold. And then eventually one day you wake up and go, holy shit, it's starting to work. And it'll be like the first time you smile in months or whatever. But that realization, then it snowballs from there. And I think that shit applies to all of there's that upper echelon of challenges in life. And obviously a loss like that is one of them. And I think all those, it's the same shit. That level of pain where there's nothing that can cure it except time, it's just like, the fuck can anybody else say? And then you got to make peace with that.
I think you can also just remember it's okay to be happy even when you are in a point of grief and
Sure.
being sad.
To allow yourself that?
Yeah, don't feel guilty about being happy. And also when you are finally happy and things are getting better and you do find those moments of grief again, it's totally fine to feel those things.
Which is that's one of the most unbelievably true things that I have learned through my life too. You're allowed to be sad.
Yes.
You're supposed to be sad, you stupid motherfucker, to quote Chris Rock. What is that bit where he's like, I take care of my kids. You're supposed to take care of your kids, you stupid motherfucker. You're supposed to allow yourself that. It's a regular human emotion. And none of us do, or especially men. We have a serious problem with it.
Let yourself be sad.
And once you do, and more than that, it's I used to get. It's like a built-in subconscious thing. I used to get upset with myself for being upset.
Right.
Why are you crying? Why you're this sad to where you're crying? What the fuck's wrong with you? You weak?
But then you just sit in the sadness even longer because now you're just mad at yourself.
It's insane. And then when you learn the lesson and allow yourself that, oh my God, it's incredibly freeing and relieving. And you don't hurt so much. Anyway, it's a tough balance, but you can, and that's so true too. When you've moved past the initial, just because you first of all, don't feel ashamed because you're happy at moments during the darkness. But then also, once you're climbing out, you may have a few days where you feel good and you're like, shit, this is over. And you'll hit another day of grief, and that's okay too. Get back into the sadness or whatever, that's fine. That shit is a process. It takes time. And as long as you're taking care of yourself, and I mean, obviously, if you have the means to do things like go to therapy or psychiatry, that's awesome.
And there's usually free grief groups too that
Yeah.
you can find in most communities. So there's no shame in going to one of those, even if I think people think if it's not a direct relative or if it wasn't your parent or sibling.
Oh, I don't need help.
I don't need help, right?
It's not serious enough.
But friendships are an important part of people's lives, and
Oh.
so for some people that is your family. So if it's something you need help with, find a grief group.
Yeah, I don't think there's a limitation to that. It could be your fucking mailman, and it could affect you in a way that you need to go to a group.
Right.
Honestly, everybody's affected by shit in weird ways. That there are so many groups out there, support groups for different things like this, for literally all types of different issues in this life, whether it's postpartum to stuff like this, grief, loss, to anxiety, to obviously every level of addiction. The addicts are really good at organizing these.
They're real good at
We do great work. We've got NA, we've got AA, we've got every A in the book. You can find it. Those groups, and Fight Club might have ruined this for some of y'all, but they rule. They're awesome. There's nothing like going and getting perspective in a place with other people who are hurting or healing. Nothing more valuable than that. I know I've said it a million times, but if you've ever even considered that you might have a drinking problem, just go sit in an AA meeting for one night. You'll have your answer. Because you'll know by the end of listening to the first person will finish speaking, and you'll be like, oh, you'll either know one way or the other. You'll be good. Those places are just unbelievable wells of knowledge. And it can be really scary in there, but if you're willing to open yourself up to shit like that, a lot of good can be done. Lot of good can be done. Back to Colby's email, though, that's the whole show. That's the whole point of it. We're all here for each other. and it's a two-way street. And I support you as much as I can. And you do the same for me by just listening. But also, oh my God, all of those of you who have emailed in, called in to 888-WR-BOLEN, who have tweeted at me, DM me. Y'all don't even know how much you mean to me. You are never alone. Never forget that. We are all in this together if we want to be. So, let's help each other out. Before you head out to take on the world, it's time for some very important announcements. First, if you want more RBP every month ad-free, you can support the show on patreon.com/Ross Bolen Podcast, and in exchange, you'll get more premium RBP only for our supporters on Patreon. Thank you to everyone on patreon.com/Ross Bolen Podcast for making this show possible, for keeping Bolen Media moving in the right direction. Again, it means an enormous amount. Whether you knew this or not, you've been saddled with 3 legal obligations having listened to this entire episode, the first of which is you must rate and review this podcast on Apple Podcasts. You can listen on Spotify, listen on SoundCloud, watch on youtube.com/Bolen Media. All those options are phenomenal, but you must rate and review on Apple Podcasts. 5 stars. 2 or 3 sentences about why you love the show. Check that box. Move on to your second legal obligation, which is to tell one person. Could be a family member, a friend, a neighbor, a coworker, any one individual you think, you know what, this person would really enjoy the Ross Bolen podcast. You tell that one person about this show. You tell them about RBP this week. One person this week, one person next week, one person every week until the week you die. Your third and final...
So dark.
Your third and final legal obligation is that you must use our sponsor codes. What were they today? Liquid IV and Away. You love it. You love it. LiquidIV.com. Use the code Ross at checkout. 25% off. You hear? Where's the Away one? I just found it. Awaytravel.com/Ross. Awaytravel.com/Ross. Visit those 2 sites. Use those codes. Support our sponsors. Get yourself discounts on the greatest products in the entire fucking world. Follow our show on Instagram at the Ross Bolen Podcast, on Twitter at Ross Bolen Pod. We're also on Facebook somewhere if you're the middle-aged aunt of one of our listeners. Am I losing my voice?
A little bit.
God, we're so close. It's like 4 sentences left for me to read. Just get me through. Follow me on Twitter. I sound like the Godfather. Can I take a sip of water? Myrriah,
Do it.
answer a question for me.
Yes.
Where can we follow you on social media and hear more of your not suddenly perishing voice?
You can follow me on all social media platforms. I'm at Myrriah Gossett. That's Myrriah with a Y, Gossett with 2 S's and 2 T's.
Oh, thank God. I drank some water.
Do it.
Oh, wow. I was really suffering there. Anyway, the show is on Instagram at the Ross Bolen Podcast, Twitter at Ross Bolen Pod, Facebook somewhere. If you're the middle-aged aunt of one of our listeners, follow me, Ross Bolen, at WR Bolen on Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat at WRBOLEN. Myrriah, thank you so much for joining us as for your first
On my
co-hosting thing ever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a good time.
Was a good time. We'll have to do it again.
Ending with mouse screech. I wish. That would have been good.
Oh, you should do it, though. You
I
really
fucked up.
should. You should bring it in. Also, check out Bolen Media's television and film podcast, Oysters, Clams, and Cockles, available wherever the Ross Bolen Podcast is available. Right now, we're covering The Outsider on HBO, Curb Your Enthusiasm. We've also been talking about a lot of other random stuff. We cover movies. Great stuff. Oysters, Clams, and Cockles. Formerly, the #1 Game of Thrones podcast in the entire world, if you're wondering why the fuck it is named that. It's an inside joke from Thrones. Also, Freeze All Motor Functions is our Westworld podcast here at Bolen Media. Westworld is returning for season 3 in what? I don't know, a fucking
Like
couple
a week
weeks.
Or 2? Yeah.
They released another trailer yesterday. I shit my pants while I was watching it. It was really exciting. That exciting. My bowels released. Can you believe that? Fucking intense, right? Yeah, so I'm very stoked for season 3 of Westworld. You should be too. If you never watched it, go watch seasons 1 and 2 on HBO. Listen to Freeze All Motor Functions. Again, available wherever RBP is available wherever OCC is available. And there are spoiler-free podcast episodes that go and partner with each episode of those first 2 seasons. And myself and Jared Borslow, who you're very familiar with if you listen to RBP, he's a co-host all the time. He's the main guy there on FAMP, and he runs us through every single episode. I ask lots of questions because I never know what the fuck is going on, and Jared explains it very poignantly, as he likes to put it. His words, not mine. And we have a great time. Freeze all motor functions. Looking forward to Westworld Season 3. That will do it for RBP 269. Recorded and produced by Mike Moody and Grant Davis at Permanent Record Studios in Austin, Texas. We'll be back Monday with episode 270. RBP 270 coming Monday. Y'all have yourselves an incredible weekend. It is finally sunny here. And I got to tell you,
Thank God.
my psyche really needed this day.
Indeed.
Holy shit, it's been dark outside.
Yes. And in the studio.
You know, in my brain as well. But the weather. Usually I'm cool with like a couple rainy days here and there, but my God, it just got too out of control. Podman gets paid. Respect Mr. Park. Strength and honor. Gang, gang, gang. Peace be with you, and also with you.
Peace be with you, and also with you.
Go low, baby.